Okay, so I just decided to hit record and I'm sharing my story because I feel like it's very important that I do share this story with the world because there's going to come a time where I'm no longer going to be on this earth, which is the reality of everyone. And if I don't leave anything here besides the books that I write, I would like to leave this story with those who are maybe on drugs, or maybe thinking of experimenting, with drug, particularly ecstasy, and but not just ecstasy. Right now we 2023, we're living in a time where you know drugs are being laced with fentanyl, and is absolutely has become one of the number one killers, if not the number one killer, when it comes to drug users. And you can research it, and it's clearly going to tell you that. But my thing is, I'm sharing my story because I feel like will, whoever watches it could, and should benefit from, hearing what happened to me. So I'll just dive right into it. In 2004, or I should say the late part of 2003, I ended up, you know, I was going to college in Baltimore, Maryland, and toward the end of that year, fast forward, I came home back to Houston, and I decided to move to Killeen, Texas, a military base in Killeen, Texas, with a group of friends that I grew up with. And to make a long story short, I want to make this video brief. To make a long story short, I actually was in my apartment there one day, and it was during mid afternoon, and one of my friends, he elaborated on how good a certain drug was, which was ecstasy, and I heard that, and when I heard that, it was, now that I look back on it, it was so naive of me. I have to admit, actually ashamed that to be so naive at the time, which a lot of us are. During a period of our life, we become to a point where we're not aware of how naive we're being, to a certain thing, which is, peer pressure. That's what they call it. So um, the video is also for young adults who are out there. You may be clicked on this video, and you may be 19 and 20 years old and get ready to go off to college. You need to see this. You need to hear what I'm about to tell you, because I may save you a terrible, terrible moment, a time in your life that could possibly happen to you by taking ecstasy or any drug of that matter. So um, like I say, I moved to Killeen, Texas, and I heard my friend, he described the drug, and it really wasn't no intent to harm me or anything. It was just us as friends, enjoying life. You know what I'm saying, and really just living a party life and expressing. He was just expressing himself, how the drug made him feel. So I took a liking to it and said, well, hey, let me try this. That sounds, so exciting. You know what I mean? Like I want to know. I wanted to know what that felt like. The drug. So you know, later on that night, it just felt like a mission or something. Like I had to go find this drug, the way he explained it. So I went out to the club that night, and I went out to the club and I went looking for it. So as when I left the club, um, I went to a corner store um, in Killeen, and when I went in the store, I just random. I was, asking different people, where can I find, ecstasy or whatnot. So when I ended up asking this guy, you know, um, you know, did he know where I could find it? And he looked at me, and he looked around, and then he reached in his pocket, and he pulled out a drug. And I can't really say if this was ecstasy or not. I mean, it had a symbol on it. It was a pink pill, and it had a symbol on it. But I ended up buying it from him. I think it was like $20. I don't know. But I ended up buying it from him, and I went. I was so happy about that I actually found the drug, wanting to know the effects of it. I hurried up and rushed home, and went straight and grabbed a glass of water and went straight to the restroom to where nobody can see me. Take this pill. And when I sat down and actually took it, I think it was either 45 seconds or 45 minutes later. I started getting the X high. I started getting the high of the drug. But it was a real trippy night or whatnot. Everything they said the drug would do to you or whatnot. But the reason why I'm sharing my video is because, reason why I'm sharing my story is because you don't get this side of the story from drug users. What I'm about to tell you, you always get the good effect of what it can do to you, what it does to you. The exciting moments, the good feeling or whatnot. But you don't really get the story, the side that I'm telling you. And the reason why is because I don't know. I guess it's just not very many. Sometimes people, the path that sometimes people take the path that I took, and I believe they die. A lot of people die from it. Rave parties and stuff like that. So the the thing is, after I took it, I would say, like, I vividly remember 2 weeks later, um, I started getting a weird feeling, like a weird high. It was a weird feeling where my brain actually started to repeat stages. And when I actually first took the drug, like, how can I put it? It was more like felt like a chemical damage on my brain, and just the way I was feeling, it just didn't feel normal to me anymore, and everything was feeling very weird. My senses were at an all-time high, and I wasn't able to socialize with people regularly like I usually would. I became very, very quiet. Very mostly quiet during the day. And when my family heard about this, my mom just sent my brothers and my cousins to come pick me up. And God bless them for being there, for being able to look after me and care for me the way they did. They came to pick me up, and when they came to pick me up, I can kind of see it in their eyes that they saw something about me that they normally, wasn't used to seeing the way I was, quiet and whatnot. But when I got in the car, it was like during the day or whatnot, and I was just in the back seat, and I had a blanket on me, and I was really quiet all the way back to Houston from Killeen. And I just, during that time, I wanted to talk. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to say something, but I just couldn't. And later on in this video, I'm gonna share with you what I feel, what was happening to me as I was going, back to Houston in the car in the back seat. You know, when I made it there, I immediately went straight to my room in my parents' apartment. And that place is where that time is a place where I rarely left. I was always in the room, like, mostly throughout the most of 2004. I was continuously laying in the bed, not saying anything. Felt very violent, mentally, and you know what I'm saying, like, to the point where something was telling me to, hurt my family and this and that. But I fought against those thoughts because I feel like, God was, sparing my life, you know what I mean, keeping me from, harming other people that were close to me. But there was, during this time, um, you know, I feel like, you know, spiritually, I feel like, the devil was trying to get me, convince me that, I was a burden, to my parents for the way I was. And so every time they left to go make groceries, something was, it was the whispers from the devil was telling me, convincing me to, take my life. So, I mean, this is what's happening from taking, ecstasy. So, the devil was convincing me to take my life, and then one day my parents went to go make groceries, and I decided to take, that the whisper from the devil. I decided to take him up on that offer, and I won't explain how I tried to commit suicide, but I will say that I tried to go through with it, and it something happened during that time that made me you know discontinue to the process that I was doing to try to commit suicide or whatnot. But in other words, after that, I didn't go through with it. I didn't go through with it, and as time evolved, like I say, I was in my room day to day, every day for almost an entire year, I should say. And one day, I was constantly, praying in my head, talking to God or whatnot, and something, the thought came over me that I should just leave town. You know what I mean? I should just leave, my side of town, and go to another place, because where this place where I was, here in Houston, I didn't really see a point of being here anymore, because I wasn't able to socialize with people the way I wanted to. So, I feel like God was telling me, just pack your things and just go to a new land, go to somewhere else, where you may feel accepted, you know what I mean? And try to at least go somewhere to try to get your life back. So as I was packing my bags, my parents didn't know that I was about to leave. I packed my things, and I asked for help with a little bit of money so that way I could survive where I was going until I get on my feet. And one morning at about 5 in the morning, because I didn't want my parents to know that I was leaving, I called a cab, and I ended up crawling, through the window at 5 in the morning to go to sneak out and go, catch the cab across the street from where I was living. And as I'm in the cab, I'm just like, man, I can't believe I'm actually leaving. But I felt like I was leaving for the reason of, just not really knowing who I was anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to go really find myself. I was trying to go find myself in a new land, and a new place to start over with people again, And that's exactly what ended up happening. I ended up doing that exact thing. And when I got in the cab and I made it to the Greyhound bus station at about 6 or 7 that morning, I remember sitting on the bus at the front of the bus before it was about to leave to go to Vegas from Houston, and my thoughts were, I had very paranoid thoughts. My judgment was cloudy, and I said, man, I didn't really too much say how was I gonna make it, because it felt like a mission, that I was on, that I'm just gonna, go and just get somewhere and get away. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm on the bus, and it's leaving, it took about 2 or 3 days for me to get there. And I remember being asleep on the Greyhound when I finally made it to my destination. But somebody woke me up on the bus, and they knew. I think I told them where I was headed to, and they woke me up and they said, "Hey, this is your stop. We're here in Vegas. We're here in Las Vegas." And when I looked up, I saw the Luxor, the Luxor pyramid in Vegas, and I said, and it was like a big bright beam beaming from the top of the pyramid, the Luxor, and I said, man, you know, that this place looked amazing to me. And so as I got off the bus, I went, grabbed my things, and I walked downtown to downtown Las Vegas. And when I set my bags down, I just looked up in the sky like this, and I was thanking God, and immediately that paranoia and judgmental thought process that I had, it immediately just vanished and it cleared up, and I was like, wow, this is what I really needed. This is what I needed. But this is what I needed. So as time evolved, as time elapsed and I stayed there or whatnot, I ended up, living there for a little while. I ended up getting me a job, because this was, like I say, I came here to get my life back, and this is the process that was happening. I was getting my life back. I was becoming, I would say, normal again. You know what I mean? And the um, the job that I found, it was working on, rebuilding slot machines. Because yes, they gamble in Vegas, so I was rebuilding slot machines. I had a temp. It was a job from a temp service, and I ended up getting hired and working or whatnot. I did a lot of gambling when I was there too, but this was all before me converting to Islam, my religion, and this all was before I converted. So I was like, gambling and you know still doing drugs, I should say, which is sad, but it happens. You know what I mean? We're not perfect, but when I got there and ended up finding myself, you know, um, it's, I had a really, it was everything that I went there for. Put it like that. It was everything that I went there for, and after I was there for a good while or whatnot, something said just go back home. You know what I'm saying? I was getting homesick or whatnot. I was getting homesick, and so I came back home, and you know I went to my parents were living in a home in Channelview, Texas, and I went to the front door when I came back home, and my mom, looked at me, and I don't think she knew who I was. She couldn't recognize me because I was real skinny. You know, I mean, I was a totally different person than when I left. You know what I'm saying? So when I came back, I said, "Hey, mom, you don't recognize me?" And she was like, and then her face just lit up, and she seen me or whatnot, and it was a moment where like I realized how important my family was to me, even though sometimes we don't always get along or whatnot, but we don't always get along, but for some odd reason, it's not an odd reason, but for some reason, they're always there for me. You know what I'm saying? So I try to be there for them, and but yeah, that's and then after I came home or whatnot back to Houston, that's when I started. And the reason why I'm telling this part of the story is because the drug users and the people who intend to use drugs, they need to know really what happened to me. So uh, when I came back home, I started going to visiting different clinics. Now this is the part where the part where my brain starts to, I should say, become a bit, you know, I should say, imbalanced after taking the drug a year or two later. So I started going to clinics, and I became, what do you call it? Like you say, like I said, imbalanced. So I was going to these clinics, and I just really wasn't myself. So I started, my mom had to come with me. We had to catch the bus or whatnot, and I had to sit there in the clinics, and to get my medication or whatnot. And that's when I found out in 2006, like a year after I came from Vegas in 2006, that I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And the reason why I was diagnosed with schizophrenia is because I was having all the symptoms of schizophrenia. For those who out there, who really, you know, are into, spirituality, and they want to know, okay, how do you know you had schizophrenia? Well, I had the symptoms of schizophrenia. So, but the thing, I was taking this medication for, you know, off and on. And I mean, I was taking it every day, really. And, at some point, the medication, got me, a lot better. And as you can see, this is the way I function every day. Normal, so-called normal, So the reason why I say so-called normal is that some normal people, are not even considered normal. They just feel like they are, but they do things that that a person who's diagnosed would do. But not to say that they should have medicine or whatnot, but tend to, we tend to do things as normal people. We tend to do things that are out of the ordinary, and we think that it's okay, but really it's working on our mental state or whatnot. But for the most part, I was, taking medications or whatnot, and in 2000, I believe in like about 4 years later, in 2010, that's when I started, writing. I started writing like books, and I wrote my first book in 2010. It was a poetry book called "Smiling Through the Pain." Yeah, it was called "Smiling Through the Pain." You can get it. It's on Walmart.com with the rest of the books that I have. And But yeah, that's pretty much my life in a nutshell, and what happened to me or whatnot. But feel like I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video a little short here. Then I'm gonna close out with, just be very careful, be very mindful. And also what I wanted to get into is, before I end the video, is that you know my in 2015 I converted to Islam. And I've noticed that I've seen a big difference in my life by not just converting to a religion, but converting to a system that keeps you mentally focused, keeps you sane, keeps you to always want to read, always want knowledge, understanding and peace. So I've always, ever since 2015, I've been in a state of peace. And that's all I wanna. That's all I want to surround myself with, is peace at this point in my life. And it's 2023 now, and I'm still on the journey, the path of studying my religion and whatnot. And it is a lifelong process of studying Islam. And my thing is, the reason why I mention Islam is because it is a big piece of the puzzle, the reason why I am so focused on, writing novels and, things of that nature. So I wouldn't be such a great writer if I didn't have, a religion like Islam to be the center of my life. So just wanted to put that out there. So, but yeah, anybody who's click on this video. I feel like, just know that I made this video for you, that and I'm not judging you because you're a drug user, because I was a drug user. I did cocaine, I did, things like meth or whatnot. But the thing is, the most important thing is that you stop, you watch this video, and you say, you know what? Based on what happened to him, this could probably, if I keep taking different drugs, that same thing that happened to him could probably happen to me. With any drug that I experiment with. So I need to be careful. I need to be mindful. And I'm just saying, that is something to consider, before, because I know it can become a habitual, thing where, it becomes habit to take drugs. But, just try to be receptive and be mindful and be headstrong, be focused and be headstrong and say, you know what, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna try something different with my time. I must try to start, try to start, reading a book, or going to the library, or just doing something with my time versus, going to buy drugs from a drug dealer. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to open up a way for you to, change your life, I should say, because we all need change. You know what I'm saying? So, and change is inevitable. So we all need that. So whoever's watching this video, I hope that you get something valuable from it. Thank you.